In today's episode of Let's Talk, Tim Walter, house healer and alternative life coach, talks about the visitor to his house and clarifies some of the things that he wanted to talk about earlier on in the show. In this last segment now, what I normally do is I ask my guests if there's anything they would like to have said that I haven't given you the opportunity to say at this point, just to close our interviews.
The thing I want to make very, very clear is, and what struck me this morning in trying to say about Jane appearing in the house, right? So when we moved into this house, and we discovered that there was this lady called Jane living there, this deceased lady. It actually seemed like a very, very ordinary thing to discover. It didn't seem like it was a big deal. It didn't seem like it was, oh, we've got a ghost living in the house. How scary is this? It just seemed like a matter-of-fact, day-to-day thing. And that really is the way that the really big changes come into your life, because that is what life is about. It's about allowing circumstance, allowing the reality in which you live to have some input on how you respond to it. So in the Taoist way, right, the ancient Taoists would play a game with their reality. The ancient priests of that time, and they weren't called priests, but you know what I mean, this is the Far East of thousands of years ago. They would play a game with their reality by trying to make a decision that would completely off the reality that the God, the great Tao, wouldn't expect them to make. So they were to make a last-minute decision and try and kind of throw reality off its balance. Now they did that because, as far as they were concerned, that's what the great Tao, that's what reality, that's what God was doing to them. So this game of ping pong, of we make a decision, reality comes back with an answer. We make a decision, reality comes back with an answer. Of course, this is all now used in manifestation technique. In people like Wayne Dyer used to talk about this massively. Oprah Winfrey, she's always talking about manifesting your own reality. Now, yeah, sure, it works, but also it doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. There is no formula for this stuff. Because it's us as co-creators, it's what the divine plan is. Anyway, we can't ignore the existence of a greater intelligence or an influence upon our lives, or so that has to be the G word. It has to be God or the universe, whatever expression you want to use. But there's also the mechanism for it is earth energy. I have no doubt about that. Earth energy is really crucial to the way that our minds interact with the physical reality that we experience out here. Now, that's one big thing that we haven't touched on really, but that is the mechanism of it. That's the mechanics of it. And there's also a small percentage of chance, of chaos, of randomness, because none of those things, even God, has an element of the unknown within it. And otherwise we wouldn't exist. Partly we're here to explore and to try to find out for the universe, for God, what the chuff's going on. We are an expression of it, trying to experience on this level in the physical dimension and an emotional dimension too. So there is no one way to kind of tick the box and say, oh yeah, I've got life sussed. And to try to look for it and to say, yes, there is a recipe for mental breakdown. And all we can do really is to share what we each individually experience and say, well, I've found this helpful. This is my philosophy on life. This is my belief system. This belief system works for me. Why don't you try it? If it doesn't work for you, that's fine. If it doesn't resonate with you, don't accept it. It doesn't matter. And the more that we share our uniqueness and accept other people's uniqueness, then actually the greater the abundance is in the experience that we call life. Right now, we've got the opposite effect, where we shut down everything that's different. And part of that goes right back to this empirical thinking. If it's out of alignment, if it doesn't fit into this box, then it's no good. Chuck it out. And that is being fueled all the time. And that's where a lot of our seeming global issues, and I say seeming because we have to bear in mind that this is illusory anyway, but our lessons for living are in this illusion, because what we learn in this lifetime and many others is what we then take forward within that realm that we live in once we have passed over from this dimension.
Tim, that's been brilliant actually talking to you, and the philosophies that you've been sharing with us today are actually very profound and worth listening to and worth sharing. So thank you very much for your time today on Let's Talk.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
We have more on the way, so please subscribe to this channel and check out the link below if you'd consider becoming a patron to help us keep making more content. Thanks for watching.